All right. It's 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 the closing thoughts. Um, it's been a little bit since I've uploaded the last episode. I believe on Wednesday. And I've my nose stuffed, so fun. But yeah, it is the closing thoughts. So I'm here to branch off my feelings and opinions about the game and how I would put it. And overall, No More Heroes was definitely a nostalgic run for me. I love this one and the second one, but I'm gonna try to put as least bias as I try to at least. I mean, this is my opinion, so I guess to be fair, it probably will be filled with bias. But overall, let's start off with the story. So there really isn't much of a mainline story here. It's really kind of a quest or per se, but more so the story is of Travis Touchdown. And Travis Touchdown on his way through the assassin's ranking for whatever reason, than other to get laid by Sylvia Crystal, which was her last name, and overall through this adventure of Travis's, more stuff kind of gets laid down a bit, but it's really just a happy go fun, killing adventure that you have, and it's definitely lighter on like you know in the atmosphere. Like the atmosphere is killing. It's it's just you being a assassin, but there's really no kind of bad thing happening. I mean, San Destroy is a dangerous town that's pretty much unpopular in this game. Mm, I'm having a water with me, but that is kind of the expense of this. But yeah, the atmosphere it's very light gamed, really, kind of like it. Like I mentioned, you're playing as an assassin, so lots of blood, mature uh, language, or more not really mature language, but um, indecent language. Um, it has a lot of like moments where like you could consider it a little uh it's very much not for children because a lot of moments are just taken in for fun, but in the fun that adults would have or teenagers to adults would have. But obviously children would not want to see, Sylvia butt naked or something. But yeah, aside from that, um, the game's story is very much a unique one, I would say. It's really just it's it's really a story of Travis Touchdown moving in the ranks just so he can get laid. However, the truth of it being was that Sylvia was conning him. She manipulated him mainly because Travis is wanted, I guess, Travis's whole ordeal behind his backstory of his parents being killed when he was younger mainly what she was trying to do was lead us to Jean, which was the last rank fight in the game. And yeah, that was really kind of it. Really a story to get even with someone. But in the end, we weren't aware of it till the last bit. I knew about it. Obviously, I played through this game, and I knew about it. But for anyone who didn't, that was obviously that was obviously the climax point, you could say. I think. I don't know. But yeah, there really wasn't much of a, dark story here. It was really just a go for fun. Really, in the end, you learn. So, yeah. sorry, like I said, stuff knows. But yeah, that's really the story. There's not much to say off of it. So yeah, I think really what this will matter most about is the um the gameplay and the characters and the fight. I think that's definitely one of the. I think those are gonna be bigger than the story here. So gameplay wise, for 2007, it kind of still lives up to being a great gameplay, fun, killing adventure, and really does nail. There are obviously a few problems that I have with it, but before we get into that, the overall, the open world is really cool. You get to traverse everywhere. You get to go and get some stuff, play through some fights and missions and stuff, and do the jobs. They're really cool. But yeah, that's kind of the basis of the open world. It's there for you to make money, go and pay it to the ATM, go get some fights done, and all of that jazz. So yeah, that is kind of like the complexity behind it. That's the that's the fun. Really, kind of, it's the open world basically. You got a lot of stuff to do once you're trying to make up money. Each time you move through the game, and eventually it goes on to grinding when you've gotten everything that you need done or and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things in the open world. So um, yeah, I think really kind of the problems in the open world is that there is as much as there's like a lot of thing areas to go, there's not much stuff you need to necessarily do. Also, the whole annoyance with the bike deal is that it just, for some odd reason, when the bike spawns somewhere else, like, I know it's not too much of an issue because of the whole calling Bishop thing for him, but, for Travis, but yeah, that kind of irritates me a little when it comes to that, but, really doesn't upset me too much. But yeah, I think overall the open world there's not really much for it. I wish there was more to it, more intuitive than just going along for the assassination missions and the jobs just to make money. And yeah, aside from that, open world pretty cool, pretty fun, pretty good for its time. This game being released in 2007 initially, so yeah. Um, So, aside from that, we then have the missions and stuff, which hack and slash and killing and stuff, and the jobs. The jobs overall are all pretty fun, except for Scorpion Extermination, where the gameplay behind that is just very awkward. It's clunky and yeah, all around. And the absurdity of getting stung really is really kind of dull. They do make it better though in the second one, uh, at least from what I remember. But overall, most of the jobs are really cool. They're really fun. Uh, and while like some that are like fun, like I think the graffiti job, is pretty cool. But the amount of cash that it makes is terrible for how long it takes, and yeah, it's really just someone does it one time and that's it. But yeah, aside from that, fun job. The lawn mowing job is cool, peaceful. The coconut job, lots of mashing, but it's not hard. Um, the other thing is the cat job, which is so cute, so adorable of a job, and yeah, it makes good money, for a job. The minesweeping one is also a bit annoying, but eventually, like, if you're like me who somehow stepped on no mine, got gold on it, it's not too bad, but otherwise, that one won't be too much of a fun but but it'll probably be better to a lot of other people than the scorpion job. And then the bike jump job is, it's cool because it measures how much height you'll get, and overall is a very short job and and makes money. Um, Overall, what was some others that I left out on? the gas job, really is all about timing and stuff and manipulating, or kind of preparing everything. You see how you kind of go through that. The what's another job that what's another job that I'm forgetting about? Dang, I cannot remember. Hmm. Yeah, sorry to maybe the couple of jobs that I forgot about. There was a total of 9 jobs in this game, I believe. So yeah, I think we talked about at least 7 to 8 of them. So there's probably one that I forgot about. Yeah. So yeah, those are the jobs, and then the missions are pretty cool. They're pretty wacko. Some are challenging. Some are super easy. Overall, this kind of ties into the main level gameplays and stuff. Overall, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun hacking, slashing dudes, mixing up stuff, wrestling moves, which are so cool that there's just a lot of fun to do. Really kind of the main issue I have with this is the tracking system is so limited to just one person, and without tracking, hitting your opponent is so difficult that that you almost have to rely on just one attack tracking, and you have to hope that someone gets in the middle of your attacks. So it's really kind of bothersome when it comes to that point. And overall, the tracking system could be a lot better. It's really not the best here. It really is kind of lame. But anyways, aside from that, there's so much fun with killing people in this game, and because the story is already soft and light, you really don't care. This is really the don't care, I'm just gonna kill people kind of game. So it's really unique in that way, and I really enjoy it for that. Um, Alright, now that we got kind of like the gameplay out of the way, the characters and the bosses are kind of like the same deal, but because they're all characters and stuff. So yeah, we'll get on into that. Starting with death metal. Really not much for the guy, but overall, he's obviously your first fight. He owns a mansion. His paradise is this mansion. I would assume, at least in the story. And overall, there's really not much going for him. He's got a lot of tattoos. He looks ridiculous. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna look this up. But what does death metal and No More Heroes. Yeah. So this guy is interesting because he's got all these fucking hell. God dang it. But yeah, death metal is interesting because um I just kind of realized it now, but this guy kind of looks but from 2010's, and I don't really want to say, but from 2010's Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, it's hilarious because I never really noticed it till now until I thought about it. But I feel like maybe there was some inspiration taken behind Leon from death metal, because death metal looks very interesting. He's not a baseball player, but by all means, but he's very interesting, kind of how reminiscent they look, kind of, except for the whole tattoo thing and interesting stuff. But yeah, aside from looks, they're completely different people. But yeah, there's really not much going for death metal. Doctor Peace is a definite to know really much about this character. You kind of gotta look at his backstory and stuff. He already tells about it, but his daughter and his wife, he knew that's something that eventually he was gonna be facing this ranking battle. So in case if he does die in here, he wanted to see his daughter and stuff. And it obviously from the hilarity in the cutscene, particularly with Travis, is supposedly I cannot remember if this is true or this is actually canon, but I'm assuming that Sylvia is somewhat related to Doctor Peace, and I don't want to say daughter or something like that. We'll just say related and stuff like that. But if that's kind of like the case, then it's hilarious to see Travis's reaction to that all unfold. And yeah, So aside from that, Doctor Peace is a cool doctor kind of guy. He's an investigator, blackmail. He's done lots of illegal stuff. He's a detective, and yeah, he's got two revolvers that are quite powerful. But aside from that, he's got a very good singing voice. The Virgin Child makes her wish without feeling anything. It's a bop, and and the overall, he's a pretty cool character. I wish there was more to his boss fight. His boss fight is pathetically easy. Um, he stands in the middle, and he's kind of like a roulette and stuff like that. Well, not really a roulette, but he's once he's done attacking, you have those moments, and then once he's like charging up, you can just keep walking, and that's it. So yeah, Doctor Peace is not hard of a fight. But overall, yeah, pretty cool character. The next character, Shinobu, there is more to talk about this girl. Eventually, when we get onto the second one, where she's more seen. But in the second, this character's ranking fight, interesting enough, was the one I had the most trouble with in this playthrough. However, I will still say that through my runs that I've had compared to this one in this game, or my first run that I've had, I did not struggle in Shinobu in that one compared to this one. Um, I think I was just playing it too safe and stuff, but overall, like, Shinobu, I still think isn't too bad, really. In the end, I don't think she's too bad of a fight, and she's one of the few that Travis doesn't kill. But yeah, her character is that she's a schoolgirl who obviously gets ticked off a bit, and there's not much seen from her till eventually the last fight, or the last ranking fight, and overall, that's kind of yeah. She comes in to help Travis, obviously. But after that, she doesn't say anything. That's it. It's still just Travis and Jean. But yeah, aside from that, her fight, like I said, while I struggled with a lot, I feel like still the strategy that I used, some of it probably is a good strategy at least. There's probably a better one out there, but I just think that because I was playing it safe, I that's how I got so far into my first two attempts, and then eventually kicked her ass afterwards. But yeah, and my dumb mistake of running into that super powerful move. That really actually isn't too much of a KO, which is kind of hilarious. I always thought it was a one-hit KO, but that okay. I guess that's not really the case. But aside from that, yeah, that's Shinobu, and there's more to talk about her in the second one. There's definitely a lot more to talk about her in the second one. As of now, though, she's kind of a minor character in this one. But the the next fight, Destroy Man, is an interesting dude because he's a trickster heavy character. He loves fucking with people, and obviously he kills doing it that way. So uh, good for him. And he's definitely one of my favorite fights in the game. While he is super easy because his openings are so big, there's so many chances to get attacks on him. He's another very easy character in this game, and he's a very trickster heavy dude. He loves joking, and he's very funny. He's a very funny character, and I really kind of wish there's more to him. But yeah, his whole destroy spark and his destroy the names really kind of like really gives me this cool soft feeling where it's like, dude, this guy is so cool. This guy's so cool in his own way. Like I have respect for that guy because of how much bullshittery he loves to do with people. Obviously, seen by Travis's way. Any amount of like just dumb stuff that you can laugh with him. It's hilarious. And yeah, aside from that, uh, the sixth ranking Holly Summers is definitely a kind of different, kind of takes a lighter, kind of takes a more deeper tone. Not necessarily darker, but it's a much more deeper kind of focus, really. Holly Summers is one of my favorite fights in this game. I think top three, I would say. Because she's in a unique fight. She's got cool mechanics and stuff. And while I will say that her AI is a little, it's a little very much uh, it's very much pursuing that spamming same move thing that's eventually easy to dodge when you get to it. While it's a hard hitter move, those rockets that she spams up from behind her is, well, more so like from where she's facing, so behind her, let's say from her perspective. Those rockets hit hard, but like it's weird because it's easy to dodge, but they hit hard. So yeah, aside from that, her mechanic is super cool, and she has a lot of cool gimmicks and stuff. Aside from that, though, another pretty easy fight. But overall, she definitely takes a deeper look into it because this takes a deeper look into Travis, particularly Travis touchdown at the start before kind of had a thing against killing women. Like, eventually he had to accept it, obviously, because it's the assassination fight. But, like, obviously, he was not planning on killing Holly Summers and his true intentions. So, yeah. And I mean, from Holly Summers, it's interesting because you take a kind of closer look into what she's saying. She finds Travis attractive, and that's 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 very agreeable. Travis actually does look pretty cool and hot. Don't take that into context. Anyways, but yeah, Holly Summers, very unique fight, and I think one of my favorite fights. And then we get on to Let's Shake. Obviously, there's nothing behind him, and Henry will move him on to like the last three to talk about. But yeah. What's interesting about him is that we'll talk about the actor is that he seems to be a guitarist. There's obviously not much we can say about him and his machine robot thing that probably kills everything. But aside from that, his actor, I can't remember the name, but he's the voice of Klaus from Klaus from American Dad, and is the voice actor of Varix from Destiny 2, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, that's really it. There's not much of Let's Shake. So yeah, we'll skip to Harvey Moisewicz Volodarski. Yeah. This guy is really cool. I think he's really unique. He's a cool fight, and he's got one of the greatest. I think he's got one of the greatest endings in a game. I think the way he goes out is awesome. It's kind of terrifying to some, but like it's just it's so incredible. And the fight feels so fun and refreshing. He's such a cool fight. Um yeah, definitely another top 3 fight in my opinion in this game. One of the 3 best fights. Um But yeah, the fight with him is definitely it's easy, but it's so cool and unique. Namely kind of like he's got a one-hit KO that while is super easy to dodge, it is the way it's kind of shown is that if you escape it or if Travis escapes it, that whole little bowing, that pause, that stunt is so cool and so satisfying. And yeah, it kind of pumps me up. And then like his whole like mirroring the entire screen, or more so moving it upside down, but mirroring. Let's say that is also such a twist. Is also such a random twist and stuff. He kind of spams it, but you know, it's probably needed most because otherwise the fight is super easy with or without it. But yeah, he's a cool like magician kind of actor, kind of dude who kills people in his magicianal tricks, but he's otherwise one of the he's otherwise one of the coolest kind of characters in the game. And I would say yeah, and obviously his ending is so cool. He is killed by the same thing he tried to kill Travis with, but the way he goes out is just it's horrifying that it's awesome. And like uh the way Travis like does the way Travis sets it up is super cool. So yeah. And then after that we get to the lackluster Speedbuster fight while we lose Thunder Ryu to Speedbuster. Um and Jean, our cat, comes kind of across. There's nothing much around with that cat, not too much, but the Speedbuster fight is a little lackluster, and she is called the Witch of Speed City, in that she's definitely older for her times now, the oldest ranking fight in the game because she's been around for quite some time. But yeah, the witch of the fight, and really kind of like, having this problem of men and stuff, until eventually changing it up to, talking about how good of a man Thunder Ryu was, which is cool, because Thunder Ryu is a really cool dude. Um, yeah. Um, really in kind of that process of Speedbuster's fight really kind of brings her down a lot because it's not you really fighting her. It's really kind of like a puzzle kind of deal that's super easy really. And like I know I kind of forgot about it until I remembered about the pole and stuff. But yeah, that's really kind of it for the fight. And really the actual fight is the Goonies that are there. So, fun, I guess. Um And then we get to Bad Girl, which is another pretty good fight. While I can't say top three, I definitely think she is part of the second half of the fights that are better than the other half. So yeah, um, so like the fight with her is interesting because there's not really much to talk about aside from that she's this angry girl that really kind of um she just there's not much to say about her. She's an angry girl. She beats people up with a baseball bat. She dresses up in this gothic Lolita that's more so brighter, that's like pinkish. While I love pink, I think pink's a great color. There's obviously not much, but she's a kind of cuckoo crazy character basically. She's what I would consider one of the two toughest fights in the game. Um, no matter what, I have struggled with her fight both times in my runs that I fought her. So, that's something to say. Yeah. But otherwise, the fight, she's pretty simple, but like, even with the openings, she doesn't give you much room to hit. Her area of effect attack is so it's really hard to dodge and it does so much damage. It's truly a struggling fight, which is why I like her fights so much. It truly is the first kind of like sightings of true difficulty this game can offer. But yeah, and her whole thing of sending Goonies at you that if you get hit by them, it's a little they also do quite a bit. So yeah, overall that is the main kind of course of the fight overall. So yeah, that's Bad Girl. Not much to really talk about her character wise, but great fight nonetheless. Um, and then Jean, which I will say, while is an interesting fight to say, I did not enjoy this fight as much as I did with the others. Not only because the cool ass dragon that came out, Dark Star, we didn't really even fight it. It was just used as a purpose to like enclose the arena and shorten it so that it'd get more hectic. But that really wasn't the case for this fight. That it truly was like it's really kind of just a difficulty knockoff fight. And it's hilarious because the last three ranking fights are all women, but like the fourth fight is a male. Anyways, but yeah, not to discriminate against women, because that's pretty cool to have the women as the top rankings of that current thing. Just women everywhere. Whew. Anyways, but yeah, so that is the so yeah, that's kind of like the thing. Jean definitely has the most storytelling driven fight. She killed her parents. There's a lot of detail between that and the hilarity of the fast forward and the whole you don't want this to be No More Heroes Forever, do ya? Which is so fourth wall obliterating because this game practically has no fourth wall. It's so hysterical of how much there is no care for the fourth wall at all. And yeah, that's really kind of it. Um, but yeah, aside from that, Jean's fight really kind of doesn't make up for too much of it. Unfortunately, it's really kind of boring to me at least because she doesn't really throw any new attacks. It's the same Dane. She just enhances one attack that's already super easy to dodge. So, that's really kind of it. Um, it's still it's still not easy as most. Like, I still nearly lost to her, but overall, I still beat her in one try compared to someone like Bad Girl and stuff. Uh, but yeah. Um, that's really kind of Jean, and I won't say much of the story, but yeah, that really her and the whole thing about Sylvia setting Travis up to get revenge, but that was kind of the whole deal and stuff. So now we have the last one, the the big ending fight, and we'll talk about him because he's one of our last three. We'll talk about. And yeah, real quick, I will say so. Some of the other characters that are kind of minor into this. Bishop, there's more to tell about Bishop in the second game. But yeah, he's the video game store or magazine movie store seller dude, kind of dude. Travis's best friend, and yeah, he's cool dude. Naomi, is your weapons sailor, upgrade seller. She doesn't really have a liking to Travis in here in this game, so yeah, that's Naomi. Randall Lavikov is cool because like he teaches you these techniques, these cool stuff, and everything you'll really need from him. And overall, he ends off strong, telling Travis to keep fighting for your life. Don't end off. That's kind of the same deal with Thunder Ryu. Keep fighting. And like Thunder Ryu, while he died in the end, his soul lives on, and he helped us out in the forest and stuff, and he gave us that motivation. Thunder Ryu and Randall Lobby are really cool characters, and yeah, um, overall we don't see them anymore because they've obviously given their ODs, their see you later alligators. So yeah, that's really kind of it for those two. So yeah, and then the Area 51 guy. There's not much to talk about him. He's the clothes selling guy, but he's kind of cool because his accent is unique, And overall, he's obviously kind of like he's very prepared. He's kind of he's gonna get that don't fuck with me attitude really, or like don't do anything rash kind of dude. Don't get me in trouble and stuff. But he's this cool kind of like dude, and that's really about him. Um, I think aside from that, oh, there's the job and there's the Kate assassination girl. The Kate assassination girl also doesn't have much to her, but yeah, She's a mission assigning office lady that gives us a job to do, for like the pizza butt killing people, and then some of the cool things and the super difficult assassination gig 19 that I still have not completed, and whatever 18 was that I didn't do, and I still didn't look it up. So unfortunately, I will not be telling it here. Actually, you know what? I can look it up right now. So assassinate. Yeah, assassination gig. What's the assassination gig? Ah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so basically, what this job is that it is related to the scorpion job that I totally messed up on, which basically, but you have to get at least silver on it. So, dang, wow. I definitely messed that up that bad if I'm messed up the scorpion job. Oh well, whatever. But yeah, assassination gig 19. Obviously the hardest, the true test of it, which really I won't go back to do because it requires me to get tons of cash to get an energy saver part, which I will not do. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, that's really kind of that. But the girl, that's really it for her. There's not much about her. And then the other guy that does have quite a bit to say about him. He's this whole kind of like unique, kind of like crazy guy who probably who's like all about you gotta work to get through life, you know. And like he's all about this third rater and this first rater dude. He's also got something with the assassination gig kind of people. But yeah, he's like, you gotta get this work done, I assign you these jobs, and all that. He seems to be this cool. He also seems to be kind of somewhat of a stoner, I think. I don't know why, but he's god of like trash, this god of graffiti, this god of pet owning or something. This guy seems the very much stone guy in the story, and it's kind of hilarious, or not really in the story, but in the world of the number heroes. So yeah, it's kind of hilarious. So yeah, that's him, and yeah. So with that, we now have the three big characters to get along the way. And for any other character that's left, I'm probably not talking about them because there's not really much about them, or they're somewhat related to one character to these next two characters. So yeah, let's get on with it. So Mr. Sir Henry motherfucker. Uh, Obviously, he has a boss fight, the final boss fight of the game, the last fight. Uh, he is Travis Touchdown's twin brother, who goes by Henry Cooldown, by the way, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, he's he's Travis's twin brother. He stole our kill after Let's Shake, and when we were trying to initiate a fight against him, Sylvia ended it. So cool. However, Sylvia though was not able to end the last one unless if she knew that we were going to fight at some point, and that she decided to take in a look for it. But yeah, the final fight of Mr. Sir Henry motherfucker. Obviously there's more to talk about him in the second one as well. But he is the twin brother of Travis. He was Sylvia's wife in the game. Was You'll have to find out about that later. But it's not really a spoiler alert. Typically, actually, it's not really a spoiler because of what happens between him and another character. But yeah, uh, he is he is the wife of Sylvia. Got it. He is the wife of Sylvia, and he basically she kind of we learn from Sylvia that she's a big spender and his income was not coming in well. So for her at least, so she decided to do things like manipulate Travis and stuff. Fun, fun, fun. So yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, but heck, aside from that, Ch- Henry's fight, I would say, is the best fight of the game. One of the best fights of video game history, I would say, even like put it up there too. This fight is so flashy, it's so cool. It's it's like it's difficult on levels where you have to be on your A game. Like everything from like these points on come up to this last fight, in which like you have to be on your A game if you want to do solid against Henry. Otherwise, you'll probably struggle with Henry if you're not taking it so seriously. Or if you're like me, who's already beaten the fight, so you don't have to take it too seriously, really, and you're just jamming out. And obviously, the music in this game I will get on to soon. But for now, we are finally cowboys. One of the best themes I've heard so far in video games that I've played, at least. It is so good. Just give it a listen to y'all. We are finally cowboys. That should be pretty easy to spell. So yeah, give it a listen. It's great. Um, yeah, but that's really kind of much of Henry. We learn more about him in the second game, but yeah, uh, it's interesting about him. And then we have one of the two biggest characters in the game, obviously, Sylvia Crystal. Sylvia originally at the start was we thought to be like this CEO, some sorts of the UAA, the United Assassination Association. Um, but but yeah, with Sylvia, she is this con artist that you use the UAA up for Travis so that he really, instead of getting laid, instead it was used to extract revenge against his sister. But really, in the sorts, aside from that, she is this interesting kind of like back-to-back character against Travis. Like while Travis is trying to look for every way to you know have consensual sex with Sylvia. It's usually the hilarious cutscenes that just push Travis away from that, and he's got to go back to killing and stuff. And yeah, but like even then, when like he gets to the final fight, he's scammed obviously, and that Sylvia does not put up with that. So he doesn't get laid, and yeah, it's fun for Travis. But yeah. Even then, though, I mean, hey, you scored rank number one, so I mean that's something, right? So, aside from that, we have we have the Holo and Behold. I guess really, what's left for Sylvia? Her mother obviously telling Travis the news. She knows all about this bullshit, and obviously Henry does too. So yeah, fun to know that's what Sylvia's capable of and about, and obviously she's kind of run off, and we see more of her, and towards the end, but Travis doesn't really see more of her. It's just the player does. But yeah, I mean, unless if she was there impressed that Travis did eventually get to what he could. Yeah, that's really Sylvia. Trust your force and head for the Garden of Madness. So yeah, with that we are left with the last character to talk about, Travis Touchdown. This guy, in my opinion, is one of my is one probably my personal favorite characters that I've spotted as I am alive right now. Travis Touchdown is this goofball, otaku assassin who really, like, while he's an otaku, there's really not much to say because otakus are kind of shy and stuff, and I don't know why, but Japanese people make otakus to look out like ugly people, but Travis does. Travis looks pretty attractive, I would say at the least. Like, dude looks kind of nice, and while he loves anime and stuff like that, you can't go wrong with someone like him. So yeah. Aside from that, um, being this person who lost his parents because of his sister, who eventually extracted revenge, and then learning that Henry is his twin brother, only for him and Henry to eventually destroy the fourth wall. No game comes close to this game's fourth wall destruction. But unless I could be wrong, to note, I could be wrong. But so far, I have not played another game that's just impressed me in the terms of fourth wall breaking. So that's really kind of something. And overall, um, yeah, Travis is the goofball, the assassination killer kind of dude who obviously has his gripes and stuff, and his obviously the comedic relief, unsympathetic protagonist character in the game. So he's got a soft heart for his cat Jean. Uh, one word, moe. Yeah. The he's also got a heart for Thunder Ryu, his master. And like some of the people that he goes for, except we never really see him talk to others. But yeah, from that, he's a goofball, like I said for the first time, and he's cool. He's great. I think he's definitely one of the most hilarious. He's a great character, and I kind of and like there's also characters kind of like him, like Dante from Devil May Cry, and yeah, this character really kind of has most of that appeal and stuff. And overall, like you can't go wrong with lightsabers or beam katanas actually. Beam katanas from like an otaku assassin and a high stakes, professional former assassin, Henry. So yeah, um, that's really kind of it for the characters, I'd say. So yeah, um, I think really, I think overall there's some things left over. So for the closing thoughts, there's one thing I left over was that when you beat the game, trading cards will become available in the sand from pink dots everywhere, which is pretty cool. But only if you beat the game and start a new game plus. So that's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, aside from that, I think that's really it. The other thing that I think I kind of want to talk about is my commentary between this game and my last couple other playthroughs. Because this was no visual novel whatsoever, and characters really did the speaking, I could not say much because all these characters did the speaking for me. But yeah, I was much more quiet in this playthrough than I was with my last two because they're visual novels. You can't real like you had to talk a lot, and that definitely will be the case with others and with visual novels where I'll talk a lot more. But when I'm playing a game like this, commentary may be a little rough between here and there. Mainly not because from the breathing or the sniffing like that you heard right there, and the breathing and stuff. I do gotta get a microphone set for this, but as of right now, I am using my headphones microphone HyperX that I love so much because the sound is great in these, and the mic quality aside from just breathing into my mic every day on OBS, um, it still works out really well. And yeah, um, I think overall this will probably be the same thing with other games like No More Heroes, or at least other games that aren't very heavy on the reading, very aren't very heavy on, you know, uh investigating or something like that. Really, that's kind of like the deal with games like visual novels. But overall, I think I had a very fun time playing this game, and yeah, now depending on what will be next up for later and stuff, that was the closing thoughts, and yeah, thank y'all so much for coming by to the No More Heroes playthrough and these closing thoughts. I'll see you on the next run. Peace, peeps.